Welcome to Margin Business Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. In today's episode, we got Elizabeth Greene. Elizabeth is the co-founder of Untitled, an Amazon marketing agency that develop tailored strategies that give sellers the edge in an ever-changing market. Welcome, Elizabeth. Thank you for being here today, Elizabeth. Really good to have you today on the Margin Business Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. We want to find out a little bit more about you, about your company that you're running at the moment and your background. What happened in your life up to the point that you are today. Tell us a little bit more about yourself. Where are you located? And where did you grow up and all of this?
All the backstory. Fine, well, this would be good. So as far as a little bit about us, nutshell is we run Amazon advertising for sellers. If you need help with your advertising, I'm your gal, we're your team. We don't go outside that sphere, only because I want to be really, really good and say with confidence that we're really good with what we do. And while I'm personally very confident in Amazon advertising, I'm sure I could learn the other skills, listing optimization, inventory. I believe anyone can learn something, but I think it takes time to master your craft. And at this point, I feel like I've mastered the PPC craft. I'm still learning, still growing because the platform's still growing. So I've chosen just to stay in my lane in those aspects and then make connections with others who would offer those other services. So that's kind of how we've chosen to go about that. As far as backstory on me, it's kind of interesting. If you look at, I think it's my LinkedIn profile, I say something about I fell into the space and then I fell in love with it. So I always, I guess, was pretty good at math. I liked numbers and I found that sort of thing interesting. I don't really know if I would have considered myself a math whiz. And honestly, before I got into advertising, I knew how to open a spreadsheet. That was the extent of my knowledge. I'm thankful to say I've blown past that and then some, and have been known for bulk files, which is very much in the spreadsheet realm, and you have to know spreadsheets to be able to do that. So we're doing some pretty.
I hate them. I cannot see them. You know?
I hate it.
I don't like spreadsheets at all. Yeah.
Yes, I guess you'd say it's an acquired taste. I happen to like. I guess it's kind of the art and science of it, being able to build things and make connections. I find that going through it in a very manual process, because if you're dealing with spreadsheets, you're downloading a lot of reports. It's not automated. You can automate them, but at the very baseline, it's very manual, which I feel kind of gives me an advantage because I've gotten really, really intimate with the data and being able to make those connections across reports, because there's oftentimes you're like, I want this data point. Turns out you need like 4 different reports to get that, and to be able to accumulate that and put it all together and then make sure it's all correct. So I've actually really enjoyed that. But yeah, it's definitely maybe everything I've learned and I've dug into. I realize at some point it doesn't scale because, again, it's very manual, but I'm very, very thankful that I've gone through that, because as we scale, as we look at more automations, as we build out things that allow us to do things quicker, I still have the base knowledge to know how to make the data connections. So I think that served me very well.
So as well, have you been ever in accountancy or anything like that as well? No? Okay.
No, that's why I say I fell into a backstory before this. Before I got into, building a company, I was a wife and a mom. I stayed at home. I homeschooled our kids. And that's the life that I wanted and crafted. And me and my husband agreed upon even before we got married. That was one of our is this what you want out of life? And we both agreed that that's where we wanted to go. I really enjoyed that. At this point, just time-wise, I do much less of that, but still have the kids around a lot, which has been beautiful. So.
Sorry to interrupt your video. I just wanted to let you know that I really appreciate you having you today, watching this video right now, And I wanted to let you know that Margin Business can help you Amazon sellers to sell more in the European marketplaces through optimized localization of your listings. If you have any questions about it, just send me an email, omar@marginbusiness.com, or just go to our website, marginbusiness.com. Thank you. Now enjoy your video. Sorry, one more thing. If you like our content, please hit the subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. Thank you. Now enjoy the video. It is definitely beautiful, and it's well, for me, the same reason why I'm doing this. So you can have your kids with you, and it's all good. Mm-hmm. This is definitely something I appreciate. And I mean, a lot of people right now, because of COVID and everything, obviously do the same thing, kind of forced, you know. But we did this way before, you know. Like this was always the best way to actually to do business, because actually you lose time when you go outside, you know. I mean, it sounds like it's super geek, you know, but it's like it's really like that, you know. You have like 12 hours you can sit, you know, okay, you can do something. It's not that I do it every day, you know, but there is days obviously you have to do it. You know what I mean? And it's really convenient. Yes. You just walk over to the kitchen, you know, and you grab a coffee and you go back and continue, you know. It's I understand completely what you say. So exactly. So obviously you can progress as well, apart from the coffee in the kitchen. You can progress a lot faster when you don't move around all day long, like doing 1,000 things, you know, because you can sit and you can focus. You can really do something out of your day that you got. So that's why I think companies like yours, like ours, are progressing a lot faster than when you're a heavy business or when you're in traditional going to work and going back home, and it's, you know, it's not the same. So I see really something in here, like for the next years, that will be a lot more. They're doing the same as us remotely, especially now with everything what is going on. So from this point, when you said, okay, you slipped kind of into this after you have been at home with your kids, and you're still at home. I mean, nothing changed. It's the same. How did you actually have you been an Amazon seller, or do you really love numbers?
Yeah, so we were kind of in the space. Like backstory is that, so my husband worked for the family business. My father-in-law is a contractor in Florida, which is, you know, really good business. So he was on the crew working with that. And while it was good and it was very flexible because it was with the family, he still had to go out to the job site. He had to work, he had to go out. And when we first got married, they had a business where he was able to stay home. And so for the first couple of years, we were together, and you know, I could help him out and help him run the store, and it was wonderful. And then a couple of years into our marriage, he had to go out and get a job, and I was like, this sucks. This is what everybody else does, but I don't like it. And so we, on and off, I mean, there's a good 10-year span in there, 8 years probably. You know, him still going out, but always in the back of my mind, like, oh, that'd be great. So we tried like Amazon merch, Etsy stores, you know, always kind of like trying something. Like we did get into Amazon, but as you know, like you need to treat it like a business. Honestly, a lot of them were like side hustles. So it's like, oh, let's see if this can kind of work. Honestly, maybe we broke even with the Amazon selling. We didn't track our numbers very well. I wasn't really into it because I was at that point, the kids had gotten homeschool age, and so I'm schooling and house and, you know, like one of those things. And so we were aware of, you know, the need for PPC and selling, but hadn't really like, we are going to offer this as a service. So fast forward, you know, started hearing more and more people are asking questions. This was 2000, it was like 2008, something like that.
2008.
Before Amazon won. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, so no, not 2008. Why am I saying that? That's wrong. No, 2018. Yeah.
Okay, 18. Yeah. Okay, sorry.
Like, a long time. 2018. There you go. That sounds right.
Okay.
So like started out with just like, hey, maybe I can help out. You know, I don't have a lot of extra time, but I have time to sit there and take courses while I'm doing dishes, you know, listen to lectures, that kind of thing. So started getting into it and realizing like I have a knack for this. and I really can help sellers. And because I want to say it's like 2019, definitely 2020, like Amazon just like started putting a lot of work into their ad platform. They had before. 2018 was the year like they split out the targeting and the autos. Like they were doing some good updates, but there still wasn't as much. And then they just started going ham. So there's all these new options, and sellers are going, I don't even know how to use the options they already knew about, exact phrase and broad. I kind of have my systems. Autos, you move it to broad, or migration methods, or, there's a bunch of different theories out there. And then it just started spiraling. And then a lot of sellers, because it's just getting more and more options. And then they came out with placement percentage adjustments, and everyone's like, what do I do with this? So people are like low bid, top of search. And like, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And it got to be so much noise that I think people who first off had the time to sit and really dissect what all the moving parts were, and then be able to reassemble that into a system or a strategy. And then a lot of things that I post now, or a lot of content I need to put out now, is that there's always going to be strategies and there's always going to be tactics, but they don't have to be as complex as everyone thinks that they need to be. If you can get to that level, like, all right, let's play with percentages, let's play with bids, let's play with budgets. Like, you can do some really cool stuff, but at the end of the day, it's, do you have the right keywords? Is your product good? And then emphasizing that advertising is simply traffic. And you can drive really good traffic. The better you are at the ads, the better your traffic is going to be. So that's very important. But at the end of the day, like the product needs to be good. The space needs to be good. And realizing both of those need to be in alignment for it to really work. Yeah,
it's like you have to have all the services actually in place. I mean, for you is the same as for us. We concentrated on one thing. You're concentrated on one thing. Mm-hmm. So, and I don't want to go into PPC, and I don't want to. I mean, we do it on a small basis, but I don't want to go big into this. I don't want to focus on it, because if you focus that's why we are now in 2022 almost. You see, I was like, we're in 2020. No, okay. So
I know.
It's instead of trying to do everything on your own, just get partners, and this is where we can close the gap faster and progress faster, grow faster, but all together, because we can really choose our partners, have packages, and change things on the way. Because like I said, now in order to learn it, I cannot tell you how many years I spent to learn the optimization, localization, and I don't even know if you can. If you're not really into it, you cannot learn localization, because you need to understand the different cultures. You have to live in different countries. You have to speak with different people on a daily basis. It's a whole. It's even beyond just learning. It's like you need to live it.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm going. Like, okay, when I need to do the whole process again, and maybe I cannot. So I think it's really good what you're doing. Focus on one thing. PPC is not everyone's thing, and when you do it good, you definitely can do something, a real difference in people's lives. And this is what we want to do. We want to make a difference in people's lives, and make their sales better, make their family life happier, because they make more sales. They don't have to take care anymore of all this small stuff. They can be a CEO and do their job, what they have to do, instead of calling up VAs all day long and trying to fix this and do that. Then that's why they have agencies like ours. Everything is professional now, and that's why as well. When I heard you saying about Amazon that you broke even because you were not 100% in there, I'm 100% sure you were able to do this perfectly, but you just wasn't 100%. Like, I can imagine when it's beginning with the kids and everything is upside down, you cannot 100% focus. It's not like a side hustle anymore. Maybe 2008, maybe 2012 it was a side hustle, but today this is a real business model which you have to follow up. And there is no, you cannot even, you need always to be up to date. The best would be softwares, and there we come to the next step. Do you have any softwares you're working with, or do you have anything in mind that you're going to develop soon? Maybe something the PPC software that would help you, or anything like that?
So all of our software is in-house right now.
Okay, that was
So
my
it started
question.
out because in the beginning, I was, to be frank, I was bootstrapping. And so I could do it myself. And eventually that's where I stumbled on bulk files, which allow you to manage things very, what I say, incrementally, but still do it at scale, which I really like. So I kind of fell into that space, just through bootstrapping. And then the problem is I fell in love with having a high amount of control and absolute insights into what I'm doing and how it's performing. So as of right now, like I wrote our bid algorithm, and it's through trial and error, every single day tweaking. Like my thing was, how do I put my brain and how I think of products and how I think of how the keywords should be adjusted into an algorithm? Like what would that look like? And we've like, I don't know how many updates at this point, and we just got word that there's like a whole new bulk files are getting an update, which I'm super excited about. We're going to be able to adjust campaign names, which has been so tedious in accounts, especially large accounts. We're going to be able to do that. We're going to be finally get the option to adjust the ASIN targeting inside of brands, which is going to be insane. And then also we're going to get the option to adjust sponsored display ads with that platform. And you totally can do that manually, or you can do it through the API access. This next year, 2020, I'm super excited. I'm looking into fully utilizing. So we have API access. I haven't fully dug into that yet. That being said, I don't think you need your own system. I think if you're going to go out and evaluate another tool, though, I think you need to first have a really good insight into how they adjust bits, and what levers can you pull. Because there are some that are like, oh, hook it up to our, I've heard some stories where it's like, oh yeah, we have AI learning. Hook it up in the AI to take care of it.
Yeah,
The problem with
click the
AI
button and,
is, yes. So the problem with AI is it's basically impossible to track why changes were made. So with the rule-based system, at least if a rule triggers, you're like, that's not cool, that didn't do what I wanted. You can go back and trace what the origins are of that, and then either adjust it, turn it off, do some sort of automation. So we do work in some part. We have a couple of accounts, I think, still using Ad Badger. So I have said, well, I just like anything that only lets you optimize for a single target ACoS. That being said, I've spoken excessively with Michael, and I highly trust his algorithm and what they're doing on the back end. Of course, he's not going to share every single thing with me, but he's actually asked me a couple questions like, hey, we're doing this. And I know how he thinks about it. And I know how the software, basically how it works, so I can have confidence in it. And that's really what you need to have, is confidence in what is being optimized and basically what your outcomes are going to be. And then also with any new software, there's going to be a learning curve, because you kind of have to get within their system, which is why I haven't fully implemented anyone else's system, because I'm like, I know my system, I know what I want. And so me giving that up, I have yet to, although I do recognize at some level, software does scale, but does it scale well? That remains to be seen, I think.
I think at a certain point, yes, but as I listen, you might be as well. It's not the beginning, but it's, for software, it's the same as for us. We put a software out and we were like, yay, done, software done, and then it's like, okay, let me call them up again. We need to fix something, and fix. And it's been 1 month, and we're still fixing. You know what I mean? It's a never-ending process with software as well. Same for you. There will be updates. There will be updates on Amazon, and especially Amazon right now. It's you need to be so up to date. You need to check the news, what is going on today. I mean, we cannot know about everything on Amazon. That's why we have the networks, that we have the videos. From these videos, we can understand other people know one side, we know the other side. And maybe we can, we can get like 80% and understand what is going on. But I think the software, what you have right now, is already a very, very good beginning. And I think it's amazing, because do you have developer actually literally like with you who is developing this, or are you developing, you try to fix it on your own? Or how do you do that?
You mean fix our software or?
Yeah,
So
when there's
it's all,
yeah.
when I say software, it's more automations. So it's
Yes,
definitely a
exactly.
bootstrap, nothing that can be fixed. But yes, as of right now, I'm kind of, is my brain in what's happening.
Wow,
I'm
that's really
looking
good.
to, again, this next year, probably bring someone on the team that'll help me, scale that with who has even more skill set. Because like I said, I understand the data connections and I understand what's going on in the back end very, very well, which is why I'm reluctant to migrate off of that, because I kind of know what needs, how the entire thing works. But I lack, like, I don't know Python. I don't know my SQL.
Yeah.
I wish it did. I wish I had 3 months to sit there and learn it. I would totally have a blast. My time is not best served learning those programming languages at this point. So it makes sense to, hire one-off developers or bring someone on the team.
Yeah, and there we come to the point of hiring, because it's right now it's super hard to get one of these good developers. I know it's pretty hard to get somebody good at the moment, because everyone trying to build something, and the big companies hiring everyone, and the good
especially
ones,
someone with Amazon knowledge.
Yes,
Amazon's
exactly.
a hot topic right now.
If we get this on top, and indeed it's they are right, because the market is gonna explode. We're not even in the beginning yet. So 2022, we're looking at 2023, 2024. It's just getting bigger with all the pandemic that we're seeing, with all the closed shops, the people that staying at home. We're looking at an exponential growth. And not only in the US, Europe will be very, very big, and there will be coming so many companies as well to sell in the European Union, or to sell even elsewhere. Don't produce anything anymore in China. Bring their hold their manufacturing process into the States, even, or into Europe, because the costs might be less to produce in one of these countries than bringing them for 28K one container into the United States, for example. So I think there will be a lot of changes, and companies like yours are definitely needed. PPC. I love to look at it. Obviously, it's not that I like. Oh no, I don't like it. No, it's a passion, but I don't like to touch it. Let's say it this way. And the ads, and when we look at DSP, and then if we connect the whole thing from bringing the traffic from outside of Amazon into the listings, so we connect it with Instagram, or even Google, try to run ads on Google, and then direct the traffic into the listings, and see how they convert. And I mean, everything is very big, and can be even bigger. It's just that everyone needs to connect, partner up, because like you, for example, you cannot be good as well in Google ads, for example. It's it's another, it's something else again, so we're really we try to learn, and what we cannot learn, we just get the knowledge right now, because we can, and we hire somebody who can do that. I think it's that's definitely really important. And for you, where do you see, or what do you think your company will do within the next 2-3 years? What do you want to implement, or what do you want to ameliorate, or anything what is in your mind, how you want to develop?
So honestly, I'm just kind of interested to see what happens. Sky's the limit. I did some just fun numbers, like what does 10x look like in a year? And it's terrifying, but it's kind of maybe. I don't know. So for me personally, the fun part is not size. Like, size is what I guess kind of shows you that you're growing. So I think growth is important as a company, like as an Amazon seller, any business. There's a classic, if you're not growing, you're dying, which is true, I think.
Definitely.
But for me personally, size doesn't matter so much. The numbers, honestly, it's take it or leave it. But I just get excited because the more we grow, the more people I can bring on, and that means more expertise. So this last year, we've grown more than we ever have before, and I've gotten some really good PPC brains on the team that, you finally realize at some point, which everyone tells you scaling is about people, and I think it is.
Yes, it is.
But when you finally get team members who are like, you know more than me on this subject.
Oh, yes.
That's really fun. And being able to pool resources and make everything better just because you have people that are better. So that's been really, really exciting for me. And my focus has, I think, always been on, but I definitely see this next year on how can we better understand what's going on behind the numbers. So I think everyone says like data is important, check the data, the data will tell you. It does, but there's a lot of numbers in when it comes to, I think, ads in general, but definitely Amazon, that are like ratios. So like your ACoS, it's a spend divided by sales. Yeah. There's two numbers that are behind that. And behind those two numbers are a multitude of other numbers. And so I always figure like what's trying to get better at not only being able to see and understand those numbers, but do it at scale. Because give me one account, I can dissect that thing left and right, and I can tell you exactly what happens. Like I had one client today, like, oh, why did this happen? I delved into the account in 2 minutes, I knew what happened, and we changed some things, and it's better. Like I can do that. That's not hard. But how do you do that across a lot of accounts? And if you want to get more accounts, like you need to be able to see that and definitively know the answer to the changes. And the hardest thing, because you can get data from the API, there are things, there are not tools, but there's providers out there who will actually even pull business reports. You can get that in a database and then migrate it somewhere else, and you can do all kinds of cool stuff. But what about like stock? How, and or when shipping dates go past Christmas, that affects your conversion rates. That's super important to have insights into. However, the way you, as of right now, that you get insights, unless you build out some kind of scraper, which is something, I have my bucket list of things that I would love to build. Being able to see that across the entire account catalog, like that would be very important. If we get a new star rating, that's a poor star rating, even if your star rating doesn't go down much, if that first one that's getting upvoted is a 1-star review, someone does that, even though your star rating maybe stayed the same, all of a sudden your conversion goes down, and that's something you need to go and troubleshoot. And it's very, I wouldn't say easy, you can troubleshoot that retroactively, but at what level is it reasonable, or can we get proactive on discovering those? Because, the sooner you can discover that, instead of seeing, oh, the results from this or this, let me go research, oh, okay, it happened because of X, Y, Z. We, how can we have that data front and center? And it's those data points that honestly make a very big impact, but they're very hidden and quite tedious to pull out.
I think it's that's really good how deep you go into this matter, because then when you look at the reviews, you can as well at the same time look at the written reviews, because if you get some real overview, I mean, there are softwares out there which give you an overview of the software, of the written reviews, but out of the reviews and out of the different regions, you can see as well, you can pull as well some data out and can maybe understand the product better. Why is it not working in that state or in that country, or why is it working in the other country? So when you have such a software, I mean, we go really far, because I think it's pretty hard. But like I said, if you develop and can go that way, I'm pretty sure this is something which can really work out. I mean, reviews is one of the most important things which will affect definitely your conversion. And if they are down, and you did a poor job in the beginning of not taking care of this properly, trying to tell all your family to gonna leave a review, or to just give away your products, and some people will give you bad reviews or something just because they're honest, and your product maybe your product is bad, maybe you should just put this as well into consideration. So there's
There's instances where I've seen people advertising on something that is not a use case for the product. So there are some times where you'll say, okay, so this is a subsection, I'm getting sales off of this, but what does your negative review count look like after you've started highly pushing those keywords? I've seen it impact things negatively as far as reviews go or returns. That's something else to be aware of. That's why we're hyper focused on relevancy, which there are some formulas out there that can help you calculate relevancy, but honestly, it's understanding the product. The better you understand the product, yes, the better you can understand where it needs to be advertised. Again, the problem is doing that at scale. So having a system that has enough account managers so that they're not overburdened so they can learn the nuances of the product, I think is very important. And then also developing things that will help, again, those account managers, people on the account, get the insights quicker to be able to make those decisions faster and not just get overburdened. Because again, you can do anything with a single account. Honestly, that's the fun part for me, is finding out the numbers behind the numbers. But if you have a couple accounts, it gets hard to be able to spend 20 hours honestly.
Oh, definitely, especially when somebody has like 1,000 products or 5,000 products. Even the software would begin to yourself more. There is softwares out there, and if you talk about 8,000 products, it will take a while, or it will crash, or then we need to reload. Things can happen. Yeah. So we're, like I already said in the beginning, we are still in the beginning of all of this. We're figuring out. We're pioneering with all of these softwares. We're trying to find a good way, and I'm quite sure, because I think it's very complex, the whole thing, but how you explain it makes a lot of sense. It made a lot of sense because it's it's with progress and with the technology we have today, and as well with Amazon changing, giving us as well. It don't stay as 10 years ago. With Amazon changing, it gives us as well more opportunities because it's automizing everything, and the AIs are not that intelligent. They will always need the brains outside the agencies, like our agencies, like your agency, in order to help, because Amazon yourself, it's too complex. You just get lost, in there. I mean, even if you're a very good seller, if you're a long time, if you have 10,000 products in there, you get lost yourself. So you have to have people who do it. You have to have software who do it. You have to have data, and you need to, data software as well for stock. Everything of that kind. So definitely we're in the right direction. And by the way, where can people contact you if they are interested or want to ask questions, or what is your website?
Yeah, so if you're interested in us taking a look at your account, seeing if you want to work with us, if that's a good fit, the best place would be our website, which is jungler.com, JUNGLR.com. If you just kind of want to snoop on me, see what we're about, I've been putting a lot of content out on LinkedIn, so I highly recommend you go and follow me there. Or if you just had a specific question in my bio, it's like, if you got a question on PPC, if you're wondering maybe a little tip, you could definitely leave a comment on one of my posts, or you can shoot me a DM as well. I'm pretty happy to talk about Amazon PPC for anyone who wants to.
Okay, that sounds good. Sounds really good. And one more question. Do you have a message for any entrepreneur or Amazon sellers out there? What would that message be?
Entrepreneurs in general would probably be stick with it. And you can learn anything. It might take you a little bit longer, but as long as you're willing to dive in, and don't be afraid to look at the reality of things. Try and look behind, if one number sounds good, try and, look at the numbers behind the numbers and make sure that they make sense. As far as Amazon sellers in general, I would say, one, Amazon selling is still possible. It's still possible to get into it. For those who are saying that aggregators have blown up the space and all the big brands are there, yes, that's a factor right now. So then my second caveat to that question would be, if you are looking to get into Amazon, it is an actual business at this point. It's kind of, I wouldn't say it's completely lost the ability to be a side hustle, but most entrepreneurs, as someone who is very schooled in the world of business startups, will go into it not expecting to be profitable right out of the gate, expecting to invest some time, effort, and resources into building up the business. That's definitely a factor nowadays. Amazon's took away like search, find, buy, review incentives, and get you completely banned. So it's become more and more of a necessity to run PPC out of the gate to help leverage visibility on your products, but your products should be good, your listing should be good to be able to convert that traffic. So it is definitely more competitive. There are spaces. I have seen people who are really good at product selection come in there and then just blow up. So product selection is huge. Getting that right will win you the game. It is a process. It is something that you have to be learned. You might not hit every single one out of the park, but if you keep at it, it's definitely possible.
So yeah, the whole message would be stick with it. Stick with it and try your best, and just don't stop. That's exactly what I would say as well. So yeah, thank you so much, Elizabeth, for your time today and for the insight of your company. Was really good, and thank you.
Thank you. It's been fun. It's been really fun.